My name is Andrew from BIGSHOT Bikes, and today I'd like to congratulate you on the purchase of your new bike. We're going to be going over the steps and the tools that you need to set up your bike. First off, you're going to start off with a set of scissors. You're also going to need a 5mm and a 4mm Allen wrench. You will need a Phillips screwdriver. You will also need a 15mm wrench. Alrighty, we're going to start by opening up your package with your set of scissors. We're going to start here at your straps. When you're up, you can set the box aside. And now we're ready to remove all the zip ties on the bike. I typically like to keep the wrapping on your bike until you have completed the assembly of your bike to prevent any scratches, bumps, or bruises. Now that we have your bike fully out of the package, we are ready to start assembling your bike. We're going to start with your handlebars. You will start by assembling your headset and stem combo. This can be done by removing all your nuts, using your 4 Allen wrench or your hand when possible. Now that you have these off, go ahead and set them aside somewhere you can easily reach them. And now we're going to adjust your handlebars, making sure that the nuts of the brakes are pointed down and that the curve of your handlebar is pointing up. We're going to align it in the center of your stem, and we're going to place the cap back on. If you have different sets of handlebars, this typically comes in your customs. You can have a set of risers or a set of straights. These would be done in the same manner. For the risers, you will make sure that they're angled up and toward you. Also that the brakes are also pointed down as well. Make sure not to tighten any of the bolts all the way. We are getting them in just enough to where we can adjust the handlebars themselves. We're going to align our handlebars so that it's center on our headset. We're also going to make sure that our handlebars are set to your personal preference of angle. Most people like it to be straight with the whole frame. Now that we have it at the appropriate angle, we're going to hold on to the headset with our hand, and we're going to tighten in a rotating pattern. Now when you're tightening these nuts, make sure that we do not tighten any one of them all the way on the first go round. You're going to want to start with one, tighten it lightly, and then you're going to go to your adjacent corner and tighten that one as well. Working your way around, alternating your pattern. This allows your handlebars to be placed on evenly and prevents any further damaging. Now that we have your handlebars in place, we can loosen up our brakes. This can be done by loosening the nut that is on the bottom of your handlebars. Once this is loosened just enough to rotate the brake, you're going to want to position the brakes to your personal comfort level, which is typically here in this position. You will tighten it back up so that your handle brakes stay where they're supposed to. And we will do the same on the other brake, making sure that they're evenly placed on your handlebars. Now it's time to place your seat on the bike. You can start by removing the cap on your seat and placing your seat in the seat post. You can place your seat into the frame and tighten your seat post clamp. This can be done right here. We're going to make sure that our seat is aligned with the neck and stem, and that we have enough room here to put our reflector. And now that your seat and your handlebars are set, it is time to flip the bike over and proceed with the rest of the bike. I'd like to start off by telling you that you can do this in many places, on the floor, on the table. Some people do have bike trees and they'll put them up in there, but this is an easy place to do it for me, is on a flat surface in front of you guys. So you're going to start by taking your front tire, removing all the cardboard and plastic that comes on it. You're going to release the nuts so that it makes it easy for you to place it onto the frame. I'm going to set this aside, and then we're going to release the brake on the front. This can be done by squeezing the caliper so that you don't break it, and using your 5mm to release the nut combo there. When it's released, it should properly open up the brake. We're going to remove the plastic protector on the front fork, and that can be thrown away. And we're going to take our front tire, we're going to place it in so that it lines up into the fork and sits in between the calipers of your brakes. We're going to adjust this by hand tightening it as much as we can. Then we're going to take our 15mm wrench and we're going to tighten each side down, rotating in between the two before fully tightening all the way. Now that we have our front tire on our bike, we're going to place on our pedals. So we're going to start by finding out which side is the left and which side is the right. With the strapped pedals, which come on your set models, you will have a left and a right. This will be indicated by an L and an R. On your platform pedals, you will have the same indicating L and R on the bottom of your nut or on the side of your nut. You're going to want to add them to your bike using the 15mm wrench. You're going to start by rotating toward the freewheel, which is reverse on the actual crank. After hand tightening it as far as you can, you'll use your 15 to tighten it the rest of the way. Right here, till it's tight. You're also going to do the opposite side, making sure to place on with your hand and hand tightening it, moving away from the forward spinning rotation of the bike. So going with the freewheel. And after hand tightening it all the way, you're going to use your 15 one more time to tighten it all the way to where your pedals don't move. Now that you have both your pedals and your front tire on, it's time to adjust your brakes. This can be done in this current position. You're going to want to make sure that your rear brakes are aligned and that they have enough space. If the rear brake is still seating on the rim, you're going to want to release your nut like we did up front. To adjust your brakes appropriately, you're going to want to make sure that they're fully released. You're going to make sure that your pads are going to line up appropriately to the chrome lining here. When you have done so, you will bring the calipers together and you're going to lock your tightener lever there. After doing so, we will tighten the nut and the brake should release a little bit. In some cases, pulling your cable tight will be the only way to get it fully tight. Now when you release your hands, you should have a little bit of space so that the tire still moves, yet doesn't touch the actual rim. You will do so on both your front and rear brakes, making sure that everything is tightened, hand tight, and that your brakes are appropriately aligned. Now that we have reached this step, we're going to add your reflectors onto your bike. You will place your rear reflector, which is red, on your seat post, placing your nut back into the nut holder location, and then placing your screw back through the other side, and then tightening it. You will do so with your front reflector as well, making sure it's pointed in the appropriate angle, and then releasing your screw and nut so that you can place it around your front bar. And tightening it all the way. Making sure not to over tighten, for these are plastic. Now that we have our reflectors, your handlebars, your seat, your pedals, and your front tire on, we are almost fully complete. All you need to do now is remove all your plastics and remove all your foam and cardboard from your actual bike. In some cases, the stem and tire will not be appropriately aligned. You will want to bring your stem over so that your stem lines up with your frame and your front tire. When it's appropriately aligned, you will remove the cap from the top, tightening the top first. This will ensure that the stem sits down all the way. After doing that, you will tighten your sides so that everything sits together appropriately, tightening this all the way. Now that you're set, you're ready to fill your tires with air. This can be done by removing your plastic cap. This does not hold in air, but your release valve does. And this is what you're going to loosen up before filling up with air. When it is released, then you may place your air pump on. The appropriate PSI is labeled on the tire as at about 120. Typically, I like to roll these at about 115. It helps reduce the amount of flats you get and also helps you keep your tires in an appropriate PSI. When you start rolling on a hotter road, the pressure in your tires will build. You will remove your pump valve and you will tighten your Presto valve cap. Now this is what makes sure the air stays inside your tire. This is an important step. Now you can replace your cap on and proceed to doing so on both of your tires. It's time to check to make sure that all the nuts and bolts have been appropriately tightened and have not loosened during shipping. You will find nuts here at your seat post, your brakes, your brake levers, and make sure that both of your tires are fully tightened. You will also make sure that you appropriately have tightened your handlebars and your brakes and your seat post. And now that all the steps have been taken to set up your bike, you're ready to roll.